You didn't react to what actually happened. You reacted to what never happened at all. Imagine this scenario. You come back home after a conversation with a friend, an interview, or any other sort of interaction. And when you head back, you're trying to replay that conversation. Maybe reframing how you said something, maybe reusing different words, changing the tone you used, or maybe how they understood you. And based on that, you're trying to create a story in your head about how that conversation went. We go through this. We do this every day. And in such scenarios, there's two things or two mechanisms which are acting. The first one is attention. This is something that you use while you're in the conversation. While you're talking to the person, you're attending to what they're saying and to what you are saying. And based on that, you're picking up the data for the conversation. In here too, the amount of attention you give during that conversation plays a big role here. As a second piece, the second mechanism in action is when you're replaying that conversation after that conversation is over. And in some cases, and it's true for a lot of people, we use this even during the conversation where we are imagining stuff, imagining what's going on in the person's head, imagining how your words are landing in the other people's mind, or maybe imagining the point of view the other person is having during that conversation. And when that conversation is over, when we are trying to reframe it, reimagine it, almost reinvent it in some cases, we are using imagination to the fullest. So it's the dance between attention and imagination happening, which is building sort of a pseudo-reality. So one thing to note here is there's a difference between reality or the actuality and the imagination or the unreality. And to put it in one line, we often miss the reality or the real by a lack of attention, and we create the unreal by excessive imagination. We often miss the real by lack of attention, and we create the unreal by excessive imagination. And we do this all the time with conversations, with situations, with our goals that we have for our future. And instead of sticking to the reality, which is the actuality of what happened, more often we tend to incline more towards reimagining stuff which never really happened. So yes, I agree, we need to introspect on things, situations, conversations. We do need to go back to them to get to the actuality of what happened. But at the same time, we need to maintain a good balance between having enough attention to grab what actually happened so that it remains real. At the same time, we do not have to use our imagination excessively so that we move away from the truth to actually start creating stuff which never really happened. And this will keep us close to the truth, which can be uncomfortable sometimes, and we often try to deny it by imagining stuff in our head which suits us, but it also brings us further away from the truth. So the next time you're imagining, recreating, reinventing stuff which has already happened, instead of accepting the truth by being attentive during that situation, during that conversation, let's try and be a little more truthful with ourselves, with our reality, instead of just reimagining stuff. 2, it saves tons of energy that we use trying to imagine that conversation or that situation. So it's going to save a lot of energy too. Total attention during that event, that conversation, that situation requires almost no energy. In fact, it's going to save you a bunch of energy which you can use to do whatever you like. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this. Peace.